question or sharer comes from the line of Murray Miller of World Vision. Please go ahead.
Hello, Murray Miller.
Yeah, hi Peter, and appreciate the opportunity to engage with you here.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm well, thanks.
Where are you from?
I'm originally from New Zealand, but living in Singapore.
Okay. Well, welcome. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I'm responsible for managing a team of just on 50 now, people scattered around the Asia Pacific region for disaster management, emergency response. And I guess one of the things that's challenging me as I'm listening here is the importance of relationships, the importance of focusing on strengths, and the challenge of being able to do that when we've got people scattered in a wide range of places. And so I'm really keen to think through some of these laws and apply them when you're not sort of in a day-to-day, face-to-face relationship.
So, Murray Miller, tell us, which law particularly strikes you, and how do you think you want to put it into action? Well,
maybe the one that jumped out strongly with me was the law of the price tag.
Yes.
In terms of do the members, or do those of us leading, say, and supporting our team, and those on the team, are we willing really to put not just money into it, but the time and the effort to really achieve our objectives?
So how do you think, Murray Miller, how do you think you're going to apply the law of the price tag? How do you think you're going to get commitment from yourself and your team members? What do you think would be the key ways? And let's just carry on for another 20, 30 seconds, and we'll move on to the next participant.
Okay, maybe coming to the law of connection first, to think more about the way I can touch their hearts before I expect them to move in the technical areas, and to see ways that we can build those relationships.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing, Murray Miller. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Let's open up to the next person right now, and each person will be given like a minute or so. Yeah, definitely not more than 2 minutes, but go ahead if there's anyone who would like to share about what you have learned, what strikes you, and how you would like to apply.
Your next question or sharer comes from the line of Catherine Chee of Wildlife Reserve. Please go ahead.
John, good afternoon.
Hello, Catherine.
Hi, Dr. Peter. How are you?
Very well. Where are you from?
I'm at Wildlife Reserves, which if most people are familiar with, we actually take care of the 3 parks, mainly the zoo, night safari, as well as Jurong Bird Park.
Sounds exciting. So, that's Singapore, right?
Yes.
Wonderful.
And I'm responsible for largely service training. So, John, thank you very much for letting us in on this webinar. And for myself, I look after, I think, quite a big aspect of service training, both in training as well as working with people. And I just wanted to thank you for sharing the law of connection. I think that area is very important and crucial with our staff, as we have quite a large team, different age groups, and largely very young leaders as well. So I think one of the questions to you is, how do you feel, or how can we as leaders actually connect with different leaders of different maturity, I would say, short of a better word, as in with younger leaders, the more mature leaders? Would you suggest also the same application when it comes to connection?
Yes,
Not
definitely
sure
so.
I put that question well across, but
yes, very clear. Thank you so much, Catherine. We will answer your question shortly, and we'll share with you some key points. But right now, we would like to ask you to share with us, how do you think you could apply the law of connection? Any ideas from you? Could you suggest a few?
I definitely think connecting in terms of not just at a work level, but a lot of times at emotional level, which would entail, of course, knowing how someone is doing, not just at their work life, but in terms of what happens outside. What are their passions, and again, just not just at work but outside of it. I think that really helps. I think that helps us to know what someone is going for in terms of long-term goals.
Wonderful, Catherine. That's very good sharing. And in a while, we will share with you the 6 keys of connecting with people.
Thank you.
So I will present that to everyone in a short while. Meanwhile, we'll just take the next person who would like to share.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
And your next sharer comes from the line of Lilith Rami from BP. Please go ahead.
Hello, Mr. Rami.
Hi, this is Lilith.
Sorry, you're Miss Rani?
Yeah, Ramli is my last name and my first name is Lilith.
All right. So how do I address you?
Lilith, just Lilith.
Lilith?
Yes, correct.
Wonderful. Welcome, Lilith.
Yeah, thanks for this webinar. I find this seminar is very, very inspiring. I mean, in terms of the learning the laws of the teamwork, and I find many laws here is very applicable. I myself works in a regional team where I have many involvements with the teams in Asia Pacific.
Which country are you based in?
I'm based in Indonesia.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm based in Jakarta, Indonesia, but I work with the teams spread across Asia Pacific, and I couldn't agree more on the 3 pillars that makes up the team excellence, which is communications, competence, and commitment. One of the big challenges that I find in the teamwork is about the communications, especially in the Asia region where we speak different languages. Communications is always a challenge, and all this time I try to connect to my team across the region especially to be able to understand them that speaks different languages with different methods. I mean, sometimes it's very difficult to communicate verbally because the English is not their main language, so we use a lot of methods to communicate, messengers, and also emails to communicate. And I also find the law of connection. I mean, I've been working the regional for about 5 years, and I make a strong connection with the teams across the Asia region. It's because I think all of us can touch each other. Sometimes the team members, we can share not just the work-related things, but also like personal things or personal problems. So
yes,
this makes up. Yeah, and this makes the teamwork easily. Sometimes when we have to do something in other countries, because we have this connection, it's easier because we can understand each other better, how to achieve things. Then it's easier to achieve things.
Yes.
And
thank you very much, Lilith. And teamwork really makes the dream work. Do you agree that?
Yes, I couldn't agree more.
Thank you very much, and we'll talk to you again soon. We'll have to move on. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have taken 3 people who have shared. We have Mila, we have Catherine, and we have Lilith. Thank you so much, all the 3 of you. This has been absolutely wonderful. Let me go on to address the question by Catherine. There are 6 key ways to connect with people and actually to win with people. I think that's really critical, how to win with people. So here, let me share with you 6 key things. Number 1, we have to show that we care for them. I think it was already mentioned by Catherine. She talks about touching them at an emotional level, going beyond the workplace and so on. The second critical thing is about listening, because listening allows people to feel very much better, allows you to understand them better. And the third one is everybody needs this. Everybody needs appreciation. Just take a look at this one. It's right on everyone's head. People need appreciation, and people feel good. People feel loved when they're appreciated. Why don't you look at this one? What happened in this case? Interesting, right? Well, he doesn't have enough appreciation. He's not able to get appreciation anywhere. So he has to put in a coin and get an appreciation, which is really not genuine. So going back to the 6 keys of winning with people and connecting with people, we care for them, we listen to them, we appreciate them. We need to show them that we trust them. We need to have a level of trust. So when we show that we trust people, people feel good about it. People feel that we believe in them. And when they go through difficult times, we have to be with them to encourage them and nurture them to grow and develop. These are the 6 key ways to actually connect with people, add value to people, and to win with people. So with this, let me move on and tell you that here, look at this one. Few leaders are successful unless a lot of people want them to be. So how important is the law of connection? It is just so very, very important. Follow them, and people will follow you. Let's move on to the next law. It's called the law of the Big More. This is fantastic. This is what you say, momentum is the leader's best friend. I'm sure many of you out there are so many of you in this session today, many of you are leaders. Well, this is it. Momentum is the leader's best friend, because as a leader, when you have momentum, things are really moving up. Things are, moving much easier and faster than anyone expects. So how do we actually get momentum? How do we create momentum? That's really critical. Let's look at the main ways to create momentum. Number one is to be passionate about our vision. We have to be very clear about what's our vision as a leader. Where is it that we're going? And we have to display enthusiasm. Even in the darkest and the most difficult of times, we need to display enthusiasm, give people hope. And we get people to participate in goal setting where they feel a sense of ownership, that is not just a goal from the leader or the boss, that people have ownership in the goals. And then when the goals are set, they are clear and people feel that it's challenging. And as we go along the way, we appreciate people, we gain momentum, we celebrate each accomplishment that we make, even small ones. We work to create an environment that motivates people, where there's cooperation and good teamwork, and we reward people based on rewards. So these are the 8 key ways to gain momentum. These are very, very useful and powerful principles. So ladies and gentlemen, let's go on to the next one. It's called the law of sacrifice. Does anybody ever regret being a leader? Well, the truth is that leaders have to put in a lot of sacrifices, especially great leaders. Because the law of sacrifice says leaders must give up to go up. So if we want to go up and we want to go higher and higher, what do we have to do? Let's take a look at some key principles from Dr. Maxwell. The greatest test of leadership is during times of crisis. So right now, here we are in times of difficult times all over the world, in Asia, and especially even more so in Singapore. That is a time where leaders are put to the greatest test. And at the heart of good leadership is sacrifice. Why? Because leaders are often required to give up more than others. And so, this is the great challenge of being a leader. The greater the leader, the greater the sacrifices made. So that is the law of sacrifice. Ladies and gentlemen, we move on to the next law, which is called the law of picture. This is a very important law. People do what they see. Yes, how true it is. People do what they see. Let's look at leaders. When they live the vision and values and they model the way, other people will emulate them. Nothing is more convincing than when a leader gives good advice and shows good example. So therefore, we should work on changing ourselves before trying to improve others. So ladies and gentlemen, it's very, very important when we talk about giving a good example and being a good role model, especially when we are leaders. Because the most valuable gift a leader can give is being a good example. Leaders never teach until they practice what they preach. This is an absolutely beautiful one. Write it down. I don't have it on the slides. Leaders never teach until they practice what they preach. It even rhymes so well, doesn't it? It sounds so well, so marvelous. That's the beauty of the principles that we're talking about here today. And leadership is more caught than taught. C-A-U-G-H-T. Leadership is more caught than taught. How does one catch leadership? One catches leadership by watching good leaders in action. That is how one catches good leadership. So when you have good leaders in an organization, people watch and they catch and they pick up those behaviors. So the majority of leaders emerge because of the impact made on them by established leaders who modeled leadership and mentored them. How true it is, right? Those of you who have become leaders and those great leaders that you see, they have not gone up there just on their own. They emerge because of the impact that has been made on them by other leaders who have modeled their leadership and who have mentored them. And that's how important is the law of picture. Yeah? That's how important the law of picture is. Now, the next law is called the law of explosive growth. Now, before I go on to this law of explosive growth, I want to talk to you about the law of picture, because what we do shows an example to our people. And if we as a leader do not recognize our weaknesses and improve on it, then it becomes a bad example or a poor example to the followers. So ladies and gentlemen, when we come to this last 2 segments of our session for today, Dr. John C. Maxwell is in front of a live audience. So if he says something that makes you laugh or funny, just laugh out loud and clap your hands. Ladies and gentlemen, back to Dr. John C. Maxwell.
We're having a wonderful time, and in that conversation, I was sharing with the presidents and CEOs that one of the things they needed to do, if they really wanted to relationally connect with their people, is they need to go back to their companies, their organizations, and be very free and share in a very open and transparent way their weaknesses. And they got very nervous when I encouraged them to go back and share their weaknesses with their people. In fact, you could just feel tension rising up in the room. In fact, there was so much tension, I decided to talk about it longer. And by the time we were doing the break and I'm signing the books during the break, there's one president, CEO is right here, just like a rain cloud right there. I mean, he's not leaving. He's just hanging over me, and I'm waiting for the thunder, and the lightning and the whole process. I'm signing books, and finally I can ignore him no longer. And I said, can I help you? He said, yes, you can help me, but I need to see you privately. He takes me over to the corner of the place where I've been speaking. He said, this last lecture you said, it really bothers me. He said, we need to go back and tell our people about our weaknesses. He said, you should never let people know your weakness. Said you gotta, and then he gave me this 5-minute pep talk on, never let them see you blink, and gave me this typical leadership, buck it up, CEO, and I'm just kind of, you just have to let them run out, you know what I'm saying? So I just. Finally, he ran out of gas, and when he ran out of gas, I said, my friend, I'm so sorry. You're operating under a wrong assumption. And that made him very nervous, too. An insecure leader just gets nervous. He said, what do you mean? What do you mean? What wrong assumption am I operating? I said, you're assuming your people don't know your weakness. I told him, I said, look, when I said go home and tell them about your weaknesses, I didn't ask you to do that for their knowledge. Trust me, they know your weaknesses. They talk about them every day. At the water cooler, they're saying, oh, whoa, hey. I said, I just wanted you to go back and tell them so that they would know that you know.
Well, I think that was a good one, ladies and gentlemen. So you see, as leaders, we cannot hide our weaknesses. The law of picture, people will see it, they will observe it. So we have to model the way, and if we don't, we need to be open about it, and we have to face those weaknesses. And, if we can improve on it, then we should do something about it. And that leads us to the next law. This law is absolutely critical. It's a law of explosive growth. It says to add growth, lead followers, to multiply, lead leaders. So here in the law of explosive growth, it's really absolutely critical to focus on creating leaders. We talk about 3 important things. If you can write this down, it'll be wonderful. Number 1, it's not on your slides, okay? This is bonus. If you develop yourself, you can experience personal growth. You got it? If you develop yourself, you can experience personal growth. That's number 1. Second simple point, if you develop your team, your organization experiences growth. And third, if you develop leaders, your organization can achieve explosive growth. And this is what we talk about, the multiplier effect. Because when we talk about multiplier effect, leaders have many people whom they are responsible for, many people that they coach and train and inspire. So if we work on leaders and we develop leaders, you find that it creates explosive growth in the organization. And that's why it's so important to invest on leading people and developing people. Now, I'd like to share with you the 5-step equipping model, because this is an absolutely simple but very powerful model. And if you learn it, apply it right away, because this is simple. It's 5 steps. It's powerful. It helps you to get into a daily process of developing people. Now, this is called the 5-step equipping model, how to develop and multiply your team. Number 1 step is just very simple. I do it. I model. Just like I said just now, the law of picture. So you model, you show the way. People observe. Step 2, I mentor. You do it, I do it, and you're with me. So you're sort of doing it together, and the person starts to doing part of the job and starts, getting mentored. And then step 3 is I monitor. It's when you do it and I'm with you. So I put the task over to the next person, and he's now doing it, and I'm observing and giving feedback and monitoring, and then moves on to step 4, where I motivate, which is you are doing. So you are doing, I get out of the way and let you perform the job, but I just provide the necessary encouragement, motivation, celebration, reward, and so on. And then finally, when you get to step 5, is that when it gets really, really exciting. That is, I multiply. So you do it with others. You do it, and others are with you. That's when you start to develop leaders who will be able to develop other leaders, and that's where you start to multiply. So look at this. A leadership team is much more effective than one leader. Everything rises and falls on leadership, according to Dr. John C. Maxwell. And so therefore, your greatest potential isn't in your leadership. Your greatest potential is in your ability to take people with leadership potential and help them to become successful leaders. Ladies and gentlemen, the final law that I'm going to talk about today is called the law of process. The law of process says that leadership develops daily, not in a day. So just now we were just talking about the law of massive growth. So massive growth, when we develop people, we need to understand that when we want to develop leaders, it's not a short-term measure. It's something that is developed daily, not in a day. Let's take a look at this cartoon and see what you think interesting. Step 1. And step 2. Yes. So you see, it's a good one. So you see, leaders have to develop on a daily basis. It doesn't happen just when you attend a leadership conference. Of course, it's important to get the right principles and values and laws in place. That's absolutely critical. But doing it and applying it on a daily basis is just so important. So you apply the cream, but you have to run. Yeah? It's not just a miracle cream. Okay? Now, leadership is like investing. It compounds. The more you invest, you find the returns will compound. And the secret for your success is found in your daily agenda. So, before we close, we're going to open up for sharing